Hello and welcome to your Math 111 online class. First things first, I want to make sure everybody's getting credit for watching this orientation video. It is very important for everyone to view, and that's why it's a requirement for the course. And in order to make sure you're getting credit, you should have been asked at the beginning of the video to enter your name and email address before starting the video. If you did that, you're good to go. You don't have anything to worry about. If you weren't prompted to do that, then you want to go back and restart the video. Chances are you're using a different kind of a browser, possibly one from a tablet or a phone that just isn't equivalent to the browser that you may find on a laptop or a desktop. And I don't know, the technology changes all the time. It's hard to keep up with what will work and what won't work. Basically, if you logged into the video, you're good. If you didn't, you need to change things up. I do know that currently Safari works pretty well with my iPhone. Apart from that, I can't really say, what works and what doesn't work. Now, just to make sure everybody is logged in and ready to go, what you should see is a quiz about to pop up. And let me talk about these quizzes real quick. So you're required to watch these videos in entirety, which means the entire duration of the video. And in order to track that, these quizzes are contained within the videos, and they pop up periodically, about every 10 minutes or so. And you're asked a question about the material that you just went over, that sort of thing. So it's helpful in that it kind of reviews the material that you just learned, gives you a quiz question, but also at the beginning of the video, when you log in by typing your name, it will give you a timestamp along with that. And then when you take your first quiz, another timestamp will be recorded. And those timestamps are sent to a server and later on delivered to me, and I have a script that goes through and checks all these timestamps for how long you actually spent on the video, and you need to spend the entire duration of the video in order to get credit. So don't jump around in the video or else you won't get credit. Just sit back and watch it, and we'll get started here. So to show you a quiz, let me pop one up here. Okay, you should have seen a quiz come up and quickly answered that quiz and restarted the video. That'd be great. If you didn't see one come up, you aren't being tracked for watching it. So you're going to want to stop the video at this point and contact your instructor, kind of find out what might be going on. But like I said, chances are you're just using a tablet or something that just the browser isn't compatible. Now, once I have gone through that discussion, the next thing that I would like to go over with you is how the class is run. So you'll begin the course going to the student portal, my.tridentech.edu, and you'll want to log in. So your username is generally just your first and last. Some of you may have some numbers attached, but you should know that. And then your password. If you don't know your password, then I can't help you with that. However, there are some links below there to help you either reset your password or contact IT in order to get your password to the student portal. So everyone should be able to get into the student portal. That's sort of an expectation here. Once you get into the student portal, you no longer need any additional usernames or passwords. So that's nice. You should somewhere see a box like this that says Access My Courses D2L. And that's what you'll want to click to get into the class. It doesn't require any additional username or password. It just lets you right in. And it takes you into your home page. And if you scroll down, you'll see a list of your courses. For me, I have a lot of courses listed here because I'm an instructor, but you'll have fewer courses. Just find the class that you're taking and go ahead and click on it and log right in. For me, it's a little bit easier to use this drop-down list because there's so many, and you can search for the courses and get into them a little bit faster there. Once you get in, your instructor should have provided you some sort of an announcement telling about course expectations, how to get started, where the orientation video is, these sorts of things, along with, you know, some contact information and that sort of thing. This is the first thing you would see, and these are called course announcements. And you want to make sure you're logging in at least once a day so that you don't miss any course announcements that your teachers may put out there. A lot of times when tests come around, and instructors will post, hey, you got a couple of days left on this exam, make sure you plan accordingly, that sort of thing. So I'm not saying you have to go to log in to do work every single day, but you want to log into the class just so you don't miss any announcements. Now, within D2L, you will find the information that is pertinent to your class, but it doesn't have any of the actual work for the class. That's all going to be in another system called MyLabs Plus. Let me show you around D2L first, and then we'll go into MyLabs Plus, and I'll show you about the homework and that sort of thing. All right, so we're in what's called the course home right now. The next thing we're going to look at are course materials. Calendar is important. Your instructor should have important dates listed here. Some instructors use this more than others. Some will put stuff down, goals to do daily. Some will just put test dates. It's really up to your instructor how they want to handle that. And this is where you can find important dates for the class. Next up is the content. In the course content, you will find all the information pertinent to your class. Things like the syllabus, which we'll go over in just a moment. Here's another link to the orientation video. And your end, this may look a little bit different, but the way that the stuff is organized should be the same. MyLabs Plus, this is the system that you'll do your homework in. And in MyLabs Plus, we have a link to it, and it'll do single sign-on as well, so you won't need an additional username or password for that. You'll just click on the link and it'll take you right in. Now, one thing I want to talk about there is, in the past, we used to have students purchase access codes from the bookstore. They would come along with the textbook bundle. What we do now is provide direct digital access to these systems. And what that means is, by signing up for this class, you paid for the textbook and the materials in your tuition. So it was all rolled into your tuition costs. So at this point, if you want, you can just click on MyLabs Plus. It'll take you right into the system. You're logged in, you're ready to go from the very beginning. You don't have to worry about waiting on access codes or anything like that. You just log in and start working. Now, we can understand that students may be uncomfortable with that, and that's perfectly fine. If you want to purchase your access elsewhere, then you have that ability, and we fully support that ability. We didn't go into this kind of a system without having the ability for students to make their own choices. If you choose to access MyLabs Plus using a access code of your own, what you're going to need to do is click under the opt-out of digital materials, click on this red shelf link, follow the instructions, it'll take care of it. And you'll be sent a check for the money for the textbook that was rolled into your tuition, and you're free then to go and purchase the book access code, whatever you need, on your own. Now, I will say that we would not have gone into a deal like this had it not been a significant savings to the student. You'll probably find that if you try and purchase your materials elsewhere, that it's very likely you end up paying more money rather than using the direct digital access. But again, you fully have that choice. Okay. If you choose to go that route, you need to communicate with your instructor. They're going to have to help you through the process. It's not something that you can fully handle on your own, and it's actually not something that your instructor can fully handle on their own, but they know the people to contact and make sure you get the access that you need. Regardless of which choice you make here, whether to go with the prepaid, ready-to-go textbook access that's already taken care of through tuition, or if you plan to get your own, you do have to have access. You have to have access to the system somehow, because that's how you're going to do your online tests and your online homework. Now, the course content, this is going to have basically backup links to all of your course materials. They're already available in MyLabs Plus. These are really just here in case MyLabs Plus happens to be down or running slowly. You can access the video lessons. All right. So these are organized by module. Each module has a certain number of lessons that you have to go through, and then there is a test at the end of each module. So there's 5 tests, a midterm, and a final exam. The video lesson links are available to you. There are notes that go along with each video. Those are available here as well, and the quizzes that are contained in the videos as also. So really, those are just backup links. You won't see them. If you'll notice here, I've got this kind of turned off only if conditions are met. So you won't actually see this link until you have access to, once you have completed the orientation video. So when you get a grade of at least 95% on the orientation video, this will open up to you. Okay, that's the course content. We'll come back to the syllabus in just a moment. The next thing I want to show is, well, actually that's everything from the course materials. Under the coursework, there's really nothing here that's going to be pertinent to this class, or really the communication tools, except for there is a set of discussion boards that are set up. And if you happen to have any questions on homework or about the class and that sort of thing, this is a great place to put those questions. You're free to email your instructor about questions, absolutely. But if you post them here, when the question is answered, if other people had the same question, they can also benefit from the answer. And then also, you may actually get a faster response because other students can reply as well. And if they have covered a particular topic and they're willing to explain it, then you might get a faster answer from the discussions than from emailing the instructor. One thing that I'll mention though is that in the discussions, I don't actually get any kind of notification that I have a discussion posting waiting. And so sometimes I will miss them, and it's not purposeful, it's just that it's not really alerted to me very well that I have that. So if you have posted something and you haven't heard anything back from your instructor for a day or so, you might want to just send them an email and say, hey, I posted this, but I haven't heard anything yet. Can you go check on that? And that's perfectly fine. But that's everything under the communication tools that you may find useful. Under the user tools, you will find your grades, and D2L will be the official grade book for the class. And in the grade book, you'll find your video grades, you'll find test grades, then your midterm and final grades. That's what's going to be in here. Individual homework assignments, there's a 90-10 rule that we use when grading tests and homework, which kind of combines the homework grades with the test grade. So that's all kind of contained together. So that's what you'll find there. All right, now let's go back and go over the syllabus together. Pull that up. right, great. Now, your class syllabus will have this information in red filled in. It's just kind of highlighting to instructors what they need to provide for their individual class. Now, the things that are important here, you'll have all your instructors' contact information, but let's scroll down to the textbook and the required materials. It's required that you have a calculator that is either the TI-84 or the TI-83, one of those is fine. They are used during the class, not all the time. There's different parts of the class where you can use the calculator versus you can't. But when you are able to use a calculator, that's a good one to be able to use, and most other classes use that as well, so you may already have one. The textbook, I've already talked about it. There's really no physical textbook. There is an ebook within MyLabs Plus, but you won't have a physical textbook. It'll just be paid for through that direct digital access and available to you within MyLabs Plus. So the next part kind of goes through, the basics for all section, what's covered, that sort of thing. I will let you read through that if you like, but I really want to make sure I'm just touching on the stuff that's pertinent to taking the course. Okay, so the organization of the class, everything will be split through between the two systems of MyLab Plus and Desire to Learn. So Desire to Learn, which I'll call D2L, that's the communication system. So you'll have email available to you here, the discussion boards, all the resources that you need for the class, syllabus, that sort of thing. One thing that I did forget to mention, and I'll go back and say now, is the email system here. There is an email system in Desire to Learn, and I'm not going to go into it because I'd have to blot out, the students' names that have contacted me. It works exactly the same way as any other email system. The only thing that you do need to understand is that you can only email other people within D2L, and it doesn't go to an external email address. And likewise, you can't reply back to anything from D2L. So some instructors are okay with that. Other instructors prefer non-D2L email addresses to be used. You might want to ask your instructor what the best way of contacting them is, although they'll probably post it for you on the announcements page or put it in the syllabus for you. Also, there are these like instant messages or something like this available, and it seems like it would be something that would, here's an emergency, I really have to get in contact with my instructor, this will make sure it gets right to him. It really doesn't do that. It really doesn't do anything different than just the email system. So you don't get a notification that it's there, you just have to know to go look for it. For the life of me, I don't understand the point of it. So please, if you can't, ask your instructor if they would like you to use that. Chances are they probably do not. Okay, so let's go back to the syllabus then. All right, the grading system. The grading system is pretty straightforward. We have 5 module exams, and the average of those exams will make up 40% of your final grade. You have a set of videos that you have to watch. I'll go through and explain how that all works in just a bit. They'll make up 10% of your total grade. Then you have the midterm and final exam, and those are each worth 25% of your final grade, which is the bulk for sure. And then your final grades are going to be awarded according to the standard system for grading across the college. Now, let's talk about the exams. So there are 5 modules in the course. Each module has an online exam that goes with it. These are expected to be closed book, closed note, closed everything other than just your pencil, paper, and possibly a calculator. The dates for each exam are on will be available in the class schedule. And these are the last days that you can take them. It's not the only day that you can take them. You generally have from the end of the previous test to this date to complete the exam. For that reason, if you happen to just wait until the last day and then something happens in your life that prevents you from taking the test, understand that there are no makeups for these. You had generally a host of days that you could pick to take it from. You just happened to take it on the last day and it didn't work out. So keep that in mind. Plan accordingly to your life schedule. The final exam will replace your lowest test score, provided you've at least done a little bit of the module's material. So you can't just not do an entire module and then expect that the final exam is going to replace that test grade that you didn't take. So keep that in mind. Each exam has a strict time limit of usually 75 minutes. Sometimes it differs from that. But after that time ends, you're not able to answer any more questions and you have to submit the exam. And whatever that deadline time is, MyLabs Plus strictly enforces that. It doesn't matter when you start the exam. So if the deadline is 11:45 or if the deadline is midnight and you start at 11:45, it's going to cut you off at midnight because that's the deadline for as far as it's concerned. So you need to make sure you start early enough that you have the full time that's allotted. The format of the test varies, but generally the same kind of format as your homework, so you should be used to it. And the way that the tests are graded are through the 90-10 rule. So 90% of your exam grade comes from that grade that you earned on the test. The other 10% comes from your current homework average. So when you complete your exam in MyLabs Plus, you can see the raw score there, but when you look in D2L, that might differ because of that change based off of 90% is that raw score subject to the 10% of the homework grades that you need to have completed. So that just gives you incentive to complete the homework, and you need to complete it by the test because that's the only time it's going to be graded. So the homework is open throughout the entire class. So when you're doing Module 5, you can be working on Module 1 homework, but the only time you're going to get credit for Module 1 homework is when you are actually working on the test for Module 1. So that's the only time it gets graded. So there's an incentive to complete as much as you can prior to the start of the exam that it goes along with. Now, videos. The way that you will get the lessons is through a set of videos. We've got a series for the entire class, and I will let you know right now it is no shorter than sitting in class. And if you consider that most classes, in general are taught in 15-week settings, and you often will meet for 3 hours a week, that's 45 hours. Don't expect these videos to be much shorter than that, okay? You're gaining the entire material that you would have gotten from the lecture. So by taking an online class, you're not necessarily able to be in a setting where you are doing less. You're just able to choose the time for which you're doing that, okay? Now, at the start of each video, you're going to be prompted to enter your name and email address, and it's important that you enter your full name that is on record at the college so that you get credit for watching the video. If you have a name that has, if your last name has two different names, you might want to contact your instructor to see what's best about entering there so that you get credit for the videos. Oftentimes students will just combine them into one word, and that's fine, but just make sure your instructor knows what's going on. It'll ask for an email address as well. It doesn't grade for the email address. You just have to enter something that has an @ symbol and a .com or whatever. So you're fine to put in a fake email address, but just make sure the name is right. And the way these are graded, I have a list of all the students that are in the classes, and I get a report of all the different videos that were watched, and I compare everybody who's in the classes versus the videos that were watched, and the script goes through and grades those and gives you the credit for the video that you watched. And then a grade book is sent out to your instructors, which is uploaded into your grades each morning. So each day you should see, or at least each business day, you should see your video grades updated at least once. Occasionally, what can go wrong is, so the grading will happen around 2 a.m. each day. That's when the scripts all run. Sometimes we'll have a student that is watching the video during the grading script, and that's fine. It doesn't mess anything up, except if you watched an entire video and you would only watch like 20 minutes of it by the time 2 a.m. hit, then what happens is you would only get credit for the part that you had watched up to then. And so when you go to look at your grade the next day, you might say, oh man, why did I get a really low grade on that video? I definitely watched the whole thing. Well, it's important just to wait a day, at least 24 hours, because on the next run, it's going to correct itself. 95% of the time, that's what happens. It's after the first day, if on that next report, if it doesn't update, that's when you should contact your instructor and see what's going on. Right. The things about the video quizzes, I'll explain when I show you one of the videos real quick. And tell you what, let me just go ahead and jump into that real quick here. Let me pull up a video so that you see exactly what happens here. All right. This will do. Okay, so this is what the video looks like from the start. Hit play. It asks for your name and email address. So I'll just put my name in and a fake email address. Doesn't matter what the email is, as long as the name is correct. Okay, now let me mute this. The first 5 seconds, you see this right here. This is an active button that you can click on, and it will download a quiz, and I'll show you what that is in just a second. And same thing over here, this is an active button to download notes. And you'll probably want to do that because after 5 seconds, the video will pause. Just hit play again. But the content of the video, so what I've done is I have provided these notes, the same things that I wrote on when creating the videos, so that you can kind of write the same things down and take notes as you're watching. So that's kind of a nice convenience thing for you there. These quizzes, what happens there? All right, so the videos are broken down by segment. All right, so this is the start of the video down here. This little dot represents the first quiz. I'm going to go ahead and jump to the first quiz, and I'm going to take it, and I'm just going to randomly pick an answer here. I'm not even going to read it. Okay, so I guessed incorrectly. Now, the one thing that I want you to know is that you are not graded on your answers to these quizzes. You're only graded on the amount of time that you spent in that segment of the video. Like right now, this video quiz is at the 11-minute mark. So the timestamp that was sent to the server with my name attached to it, for this particular point in time when I answered the quiz versus when I started the video, the difference between those two timestamps needs to be 11 minutes, otherwise I won't get credit for watching that part of the video. And same thing for the next one. If I just skip along here to the next video, this timestamp now minus this one isn't going to match what the duration of the video is. And that's how you get graded, okay? Now, in terms of the quizzes, the formatting of some of the questions often doesn't lend itself very well to text-based formatting. So that's why I've done these quiz sheets here. You don't necessarily have to print them out. You can just kind of open them in your browser, but it gives you a nicer view of what the questions should look like with standard mathematical typesetting. And so that's what those quiz sheets are all about. All right, so just watch through the videos in the entirety. You shouldn't have any issues. And if you do have grade issues with videos, contact your instructor and they will, help you out. Okay, back to the syllabus real quick. Okay, here we are. All right, now, homework. After each video, you're going to have a set of homework that goes along with that. And these will happen in MyLabs Plus. You're allowed to work each problem multiple times until you get it correct. However, after 3 attempts, it generates new numbers, okay? If you have questions on a problem, there's a key that will help you solve it, show another example. You can even ask your instructor and it'll send a link to the question for them. So there's lots of resources to get you the help that you need. Occasionally you'll run into review videos, and those are marked as just r dot something, instead of 1 dot something. And so those are there to go over topics that students often have trouble with, but you aren't necessarily going to have homework on those topics. Okay. All right, and I'll go in the homework in just a moment. Next up is the midterm and final. So the midterm and final exam, these are the 2 big exams for the class. They're both taken on campus and are worth 25% of your final grade each. So for a total of 50% of your final grade. If your midterm grade is significantly different from your current exam average, your instructor may ask you to take the rest of your online tests in the testing center. And the thing you want to be careful of is watch out for the deadlines and the hours of operations. Those should be posted for you in your class, however, to help you out. And different parts of the test will allow a calculator and different parts won't. So just kind of be prepared, have a calculator, but you know that you won't be able to use it for the whole thing. If you are taking the class from one of the counties that we offer, there's 4 different locations from Trident that you can test at. So generally there's at least a fairly close by testing center. If you are taking the class remotely someplace else, generally there is a college that will be nearby you that you can use their testing facility, and then you'll just let your instructor know which one you're going to use. They'll contact that testing center, deliver the exams, get them back, and that sort of thing. It's usually no big deal. Class expectations. You're expected to log into D2L at least each weekday just to make sure you don't miss any announcements, and keep up with the videos and the homework quizzes and that sort of thing. Watch through the video lectures, answering the quizzes as you listen, and then take do your homework. I would not recommend procrastinating. I've seen students do it multiple times. They'll wait till the last day of the test before they start anything, and it generally doesn't go very well at all. There's a lot of material, a lot of video time that you need to watch, and there generally just isn't time to do all that stuff in a single day. So you need to pace yourself out, okay? If you find that you're struggling, we do have free tutoring available on campus. On the main campus, it's in building 920, room 211. Or you can contact your instructor to get some additional help. Attendance and withdrawal. There's no official attendance policy for an online class. So the most important thing is the withdrawal policy. Just check for the last date to withdraw. It should be entered here, and it also should be in the class calendar. Your instructor should let you know when they're available for assistance. Oftentimes the times that online students are working generally aren't the times that the instructors are in the office, and that's why they're taking online classes. So, you know, the hours that they are available on campus should be listed just so you know when to expect replies back. Academic misconduct is taken very seriously. Refer to your student handbook for that policy. The NA policy, if a student doesn't attend a face-to-face class within the first week, the student gets de-enrolled from the course and there's little or no chance of being readmitted. But in an online class, there's no physical attendance, so the policy is that the students have to log in. Sorry, that says long in. Students must log in and access an assignment by the end of the NA period, or else they get reported as NA and removed from the class. And that date should be here. It should also be posted in your class in different places as well. Okay, I think that's everything that I want to cover here. So let's go into your homework. So MyLabs Plus is where you will do the homework. Let's click on it, and as I said, this link is single sign-on. So once you click onto it, it'll take you right into your course list and you're ready to go. I'm just going to pick this default one here real quick. Everything is organized pretty well according to the different modules, and major announcements you may find here as well. Not every single announcement will be in both D2L and here, but if it's something that's major happening, you might see it here just to make sure everybody does see the announcement no matter where they do log in. Each module has a set of videos that go along with it, and you'll find the links that you need to do there. And then this tells you which homework assignment that needs to be done with it. These used to be links, but the publisher changed the way they do things, and the links just don't work anymore, so I removed them. The way that you get to the homework is you come down here to the Assignments tab, click on that, and it will give you a list of all the homework assignments eventually. There we go. And you'll notice that the lessons are named based off of the module, and tests and practice exams are at the bottom of the list. And when you click on a homework assignment, you will see it's pretty straightforward. Sometimes you have short answer questions, sometimes it's multiple choice. There's some tips in the videos as far as that goes, though. All right, now, one thing that I need you to do is I need you to make sure to, of course, finish out the orientation video, and then after finishing the orientation video, I need you to then click into MyLabs Plus. Unless you're opting out of the digital materials, so you'll have to wait until you get that all straightened out first. But when that's all straight, go into MyLabs Plus and click on a homework assignment and try and go into one of the questions. It's going to tell you you can't get into it until you get the grade on an orientation video, and that's fine. The reason I need you to do that is because your instructor can't enter a grade for the orientation video in MyLabs Plus until you've attempted to get to the homework assignments. And you can't get to the homework assignments until that grade is entered. So the first thing that needs to happen is you have to try to go to the homework assignment. The instructor can then put the grade in, and then you can get to your homework from that point. But just to make that process easier for you and for your instructor, just go ahead and do it now. Just click into MyLabs Plus, click on a homework assignment, and get that error message that says you need to watch the orientation video, and then you're all set. Then just, the next day, your instructor should have, at least within that 24-hour period, taken care of that for you. Okay, so then there's 3 modules of material until the first midterm comes along, the first on-campus test. There will be information all about the test. There's a review sheet and a video that goes along showing you how to answer all the questions on the review sheet available. Your instructor should put in the operating hours for the testing center, contact information, that sort of thing. Should all be pretty straightforward. And same for the final exam. There's a set of resources there as well. Then you have your grade book, which will list for you the assignments that you've completed within MyLabs Plus. And again, that might differ a little bit from what you have in D2L, because you'll see your individual homework grades here, but when you look in MyLabs Plus, you're only going to see your test grade, which is a combination of your homework and your raw test grade. There's an email link here, and that will, work pretty much as same as any other email, but it is the external email, the non-D2L email. So it goes to your my.tridenttech.edu email address. So that's kind of nice there. And e-text, the e-text here. So this is the thing that was going wrong with the homework links. For whatever reason, the publisher decided to disable these links until you open the content in a new tab. So you have to click into a new tab. It looks like the exact same link, but it magically now works. Go figure. But anyway, it will take you into the e-text. And it might take a minute to kind of get set up here, but it's basically, as you would expect it to be. Get that a moment to load up there. All right, and there's some additional student resources. These additional student resources are some additional videos that another instructor made, and you may find those helpful, as they're shorter, they're generally just on one topic at a time, and you may find that an alternate explanation helps you understand. They're there for your assistance. There are some apps that are used within the videos, and this is the link to where those apps are located in case you want to mess around with those. All right, so the book's up now, and like I said, it's just as you would expect it to be. Basically an online PDF that you can go through, and I think you can jump to different pages, which is nice, so you can kind of get along a little bit faster that way. Okay, I believe that is everything. If you have any questions, contact your instructor and let them know what you need to find out. And otherwise, I hope you enjoy the course and have a great day.